This is Charleston's retirement coach, Brandon Bowen.
You and your lovely wife, Amy, you just got married.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, and you're still in the honeymoon phase. So you better not wake me up with that stupid alarm clock in the morning. Those conversations aren't happening yet with you and Amy.
No, okay. So no, those aren't happening yet, but she's already telling me that I'm snoring pretty loud. Okay. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You know, like I hate it. And I'm like, hit me or something. Like I'm trying not to, do that. I've checked into some of these, like, I don't want to wear a big old
mask.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sleep mat just yet, but I'll do whatever I need to.
You need to sleep on your side.
Yeah, so we're second marriage.
Yeah,
and back when we were dating last year, when we got our families together and we were riding on the golf cart, I posted a video. Like I'm driving and I like filmed everybody and I put that Kelsey Ballerini song "Baggage." I got baggage and I'm moving. And that one, it was perfect.
Yeah,
because like she's got her 4 kids there and I've got my 2 kids and it's just like, okay, there's 8 now.
Mm-hmm.
Woo, there's some baggage.
The way we all became the Bowen bunch. Of course, your beloved children are not baggage, but as humans, we all have baggage. It's just part of being a human being. So there's this guy in Canada named William Rossi. He interviews older people asking for their life advice. What lessons can you share with us? And he was speaking with an 85-year-old woman and asking her about marriage. And this is what she said.
I'm kind of like Henry VIII, but I've only had 3. Okay. My last husband also lost his wife. We have been together now for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, very lucky. We have this expression that we both have a lot of baggage. When we met when we were 72 years old. So you're going to have a lot of baggage. So you give each other a generous baggage allowance.
At all ages?
Of course, at all ages.
I think, yes, you've got to give a lot of grace and space. I mean, you've seen this with your clients, right? When they have baggage. How does that play out at the table at Bowen Wealth in the offices here in Mount Pleasant as far as bringing 2 people together, getting all their baggage together, putting it all together in a plan that works for all parties involved for retirement?
Yes, I see that a lot. And how people handle it depends totally on the situation and on the relationship, I would say. Because, it's depending, especially if you're, a second marriage or a third marriage, if you're, in your 60s here. I mean, there's, to one extent, yes, that's kind of who you are and how you do things. But I feel like there's got to be some give and take too, right?
Right.
If you love someone there, you're getting married again, like you can't just be like, well, that's how I am. I'm hard-headed, okay, well, at least you've identified it. So now let's work on that. Of course, put a mirror in front of your face, right?
Right.
I have baggage, right? And I realize that with Amy here and we work on things and that, we don't get offended if there's something, and maybe someone's just gotten used to doing things a certain way. So I like that. I like working on that. When it comes to finances though, I've seen that done so many different ways where it's his and hers, like I have my money, you have your money there. And I've seen it work well with some people, but then I've also seen it where they combine it up. They say, hey, no, if we're getting married, if we're 2 are becoming 1, then we are becoming 1. We're working together, that kind of thing. Because, if you don't, let's say there's uneven baggage or uneven amounts that have been saved for retirement. That could be a big thing. Maybe she saved much more or he has saved much more for retirement than the other one. Well, that can create some tension, right? Of like, okay, well, you pay for this and I paid for that. So you got to pay, right? So it's just, I would say the first thing is you got to communicate this stuff,
Right.
You can't just sweep it under the rug or not talk about it because then it's just going to grow and it's going to fester, right? It's going to grow into resentment. I'm not a psychologist here, but like, I guess unvoiced concern, like, okay, if you're in a relationship and you want this thing to last, well, you've got to communicate this stuff. Right. That's why money is the number one cause of divorce.
That's right. Yeah.
Number 1, Christian, non-Christian, whatever. Like it's number 1, 50% is the percentage for first marriages. And I think it's just higher on second ones. Right. So we've got to at least give this thing a shot here. Right. And let me also say, if you've been married for a long time, there can still be some baggage there too, right? Some unheard feelings. Okay. Here's where I've seen this, Heather, is a lot of times the wife hasn't felt heard in so long, decades. Okay.
Which probably, and I think that there has to be, generationally speaking, because the folks that you're working with are predominantly baby boomers, and there is just certain stigmas, certain practices, the way it was of generations. And in that generation, there was a lot of, the man would go to work and make the money, and the woman would stay home. And so he would kind of be in charge of the money and overseeing that. And she would maybe feel, maybe she doesn't have the space. Her opinion doesn't weigh as much. And it's just, there's many levels. There's baggage.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. And maybe they felt like, or he's shut that down. Like, no, this is my money, or no, I'm leading this family, or whatever, this relationship. So I've seen it with married couples. Yeah. And so if you listening today have been married for a long time, and maybe just pause for a minute and feel like, okay, can I open the floor to him or her and tell her, like, I'm so sorry if you felt like that, but I want to give you the opportunity to voice any concerns. Because I've had people come into my office and we start talking in our first appointment here, and I want to know, what hopes and dreams and goals and fears and all the different things. And I'll tell you what, some emotions that come and arise out from the women is I have to grab the box of Kleenexes. Right? And hand it to them, because sometimes they have not been able to speak openly like that. And I'm sitting here asking them questions, and sometimes he'll jump in. I'm like, hang on. I want to hear what her desires are. Right. So I want you guys to talk about that together there. Well, and let me give you an example here. So I've got some new clients that came in about a month ago, and they had just remarried, or let me say they had just married, I guess, for the second time.
Right. They'd married each other. Yeah.
Yeah, I said it right. Okay. And so they are in the process still of like deciding where to live, right? So he's on Daniel Island. She's in West Ashley. Okay. Yeah. And I was like, okay. Cause he started asking about, okay, we might be getting a house. I was like, well, whose house are you moving into? And he said, well, I'm not moving into hers, and she doesn't want to move into mine, but we haven't decided on buying something. I said, wait a minute, hold on. This sounds like something I would think, should have been discussed yet already. And he's like, yeah, it's probably our biggest fight right now, is where are we going to live? And I'm like, okay. Yeah. So I want you to head home. She was not there at this meeting. I was like, I want you to head home, and you guys have to have an honest conversation,
grown-up conversation. Right?
Yeah. So like, okay, if both of you are like, arms crossed. You can't see what I'm doing, but arms crossed right now, right? If you're dug into your position here, or if you don't want to live in her house because that's where she used to live with those old memories, and she maybe feels the same about you and your old memories and your house, well, then the only solution is to start fresh and new. Yeah. Like, let me help here. Yeah. Both of y'all come in. Yeah. Let's talk about that. But so that's their biggest baggage right now. They're working through that, and I can't wait to hear, what's the resolution with that. But yeah, other things that could be sticking points are beneficiaries. Okay. Especially in second marriages, because you've got, let's say, the spouse saying, wait a minute, honey, why are your kids the beneficiary and not me? Or what about my kids? Shouldn't it be? So we've got to talk through that. Right. And, and it's going to be the right answer is, well, you guys have to come up with that. I've got some other clients where we've gotten really creative, like with we made the spouse the beneficiary of the IRA, right? Because that can transfer over to become her IRA without any taxes. But then with the trust that they have, then that goes to his kids. Okay. She has money as well, and she has a trust, and so that's going to her kids, right? So we can do it. Different accounts can have different beneficiaries, right? Right. And we can get out the calculator, and we can make sure everybody's going to feel loved and feel included, right? With all of this stuff. So, your beneficiaries, your will or a trust that you have set up, we've got to work through that. Okay. That's baggage. All right. I've also heard where, especially from her, maybe she doesn't feel like she has fun money to spend every month or every week. I want to go. She wants to go shopping, but she's told to watch what we're spending while all the time he's got the golf membership.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah.
Paying monthly dues, monthly food and beverage minimums, whether he uses it or not. And the boat, he's, used money and bought the boat. And she's like, yeah, but that doesn't seem fair. Right. Like she loves him.
Right.
He loves her.
Of course.
But these are it's
just about perspective.
Again,
yeah.
It's perspective. It's baggage. It's stuff that, just needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
And once there's agreement on both sides, then I would say it's no longer baggage. It's fun. It's an asset. It's what you guys can do to enjoy each other. And yes, it might be his time or her time, but that's also invigorating, right? And having time away to do your hobbies, and then you come back together, right? That's great. That's a great relationship right there. One last thing I was thinking about is, I've heard the words before. What do you mean, Brandon? We've got to have a budget now. Right? Because a lot of times your last decade of working,
you rude.
Yes, your last decade of working, you were probably making great money, and you did not need a budget.
Yeah.
But now that you're retiring and you've got your financial advisor putting you on a budget, and you're like, I don't like this. Yeah. This is no fun.
Nobody does.
Here, I just want to spend whatever I want, whenever I want, and all that kind of thing.
Of course.
And I'm saying, yes, we can still spend and have fun, but we need to have a line item for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So having this budget, having this conversation about your money and things, that this is all included when you come into the office. Okay. That's the first step. And I want to encourage you listening. If you've saved $500,000 or more, then I have opened up 5 spots each week here for radio listeners and podcast listeners. And I want you to grab your phone. You can text or call my office. Let me give you my number. That is 843-890-2400. 843-890-2400. You can call that number. I've got Tanya, my assistant. She's standing by right now. I'd love to talk to you. Or you can text her, and you can text the word playbook. And that tells her that you want to sit down and have this customized playbook put together for you and your spouse. And what we'll do during our maybe 2 or 3 meetings is we're going to have these conversations that we're talking about right now. And what's going to come out of that is clarity. Okay. Because we're going to start touching on some of this baggage. Okay. And there'll be opportunities where I'm going to give her the floor and I'm going to give you the floor. And we're going to put it all out in the open, because although that might seem kind of scary or intimidating or like risky, or I don't know, I want you to know that my office is a safe place. Okay. I'm your all's biggest cheerleader, right? Nothing brings me more joy than helping you guys retire in a way that is fulfilling all of your dreams.
Yeah.
Okay. But I want it to be done in a responsible manner so that we don't just blow it out the first 10 years and then have nothing, right, for the next 10 or 15 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So this playbook here really lines out, okay, the high spending years are going to be these first 10 years of retirement. And then things start to slow down a little bit. You're in your 70s, you're in your 80s. Okay. But this playbook, we'll look at that. Okay. We'll talk about our spending, our budget, even uncover things like our beneficiaries. A lot of times that needs to be updated. Okay. You've probably had some kids, some grandkids come along. So we need to make sure all of this is exactly how you want it. If this is our last year here, on earth, we need to know that, okay, everything was tidied up. Everything was in place here. And that's going to all start by you picking up your phone right now, 843-890-2400.
Thanks for listening to Charleston's Retirement Coach Podcast with Brandon Bowen. To learn more, visit bowenwealth.com and join Brandon for his radio show, Charleston's Retirement Coach, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 94.3 WSC.
Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if J. Brandon Bowen is licensed in your state, please call 843-203-2030. J. Brandon Bowen is an investment advisor representative of Bowen Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. J. Brandon Bowen is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Bowen Wealth, LLC, insurance licensed in South Carolina. Market Guard is a registered investment advisor with the SEC and provides model portfolios only to Impact Partnership Wealth. Market Guard makes no implied warranties or representations and is not liable for any data presented.